the bet at Holloway Manor. The legend of Holloway Manor was as old as the town itself, passed down through generations like a cherished yet ominous heirloom. It was said that the ghost of a young girl, whose tragic death had never been fully explained, haunted the dilapidated mansion. With its towering, shadowed windows and a garden overgrown with thorny brambles, the manor stood as a monument to forgotten times. Jason, always the adventurous and sometimes reckless one of my friends, threw down the gauntlet one dusky October evening. "I bet you $50 you can't spend a whole hour alone in Holloway Manor tonight." His eyes glinted with the thrill of the challenge. Despite the uneasy churn in my stomach, the mixture of teenage bravado and the potential to prove myself sparked a fire within me. "I'll take that bet," I declared, trying to sound more confident than I felt. Armed with nothing more than a flashlight and the shaky encouragement of my friends, I approached the manor. I stepped onto the property, my heart pounding in my chest as the house loomed before me, its windows like dark, watching eyes. As I entered the mansion, the door groaned shut behind me, enveloping me in dust and a stale, cold air that seemed to whisper of secrets and sorrows. Each step forward was a battle against the fear clawing at my insides. Turning a corner, I entered a long hallway. The air grew colder, a sign I tried to ignore as merely the draftiness of an old house. But as I progressed, the hairs on the back of my neck stood up. I thought I saw a shadow darting in the periphery of my vision. Perhaps a trick of the light, I reassured myself. But then there she was, a figure in the distance, unmistakably the form of a young girl with long, dark hair. She walked away from me, her steps silent, her presence ghostly. I called out, half hoping she wouldn't hear, but she vanished as if swallowed by the darkness. Heart racing, I hurried down the hallway. The corridor seemed to stretch impossibly long, and when I reached the end, she was nowhere to be seen. Had my mind deceived me? I turned to head back, but there she stood, mere feet away, her face pale and sad, her dark eyes deep with unspoken stories. The air around us grew chillier, and a whispered breeze seemed to murmur through the hall. Ella. Was I in danger? Did she die in an accident? Or something more sinister? I had so many questions. I took a step back and overcame my fears, my breath visible in the cold air. "Are you Ella?" My voice was barely a whisper, drowned out by the pounding of my heart. She said nothing, only looking at me. She was a hollow-looking thing, a stark contrast to the cheerful, rosy-cheeked thing you might expect in a living girl. She turned and moved toward the window at the end of the hallway, her favorite spot in this old mansion, the stories claimed. There, the moonlight cast her shadow on the floor, elongated and distorted. She looked out the window longingly, then turned to me, what seemed like a silent plea evident in her gaze. My heart softened, and I felt a surge of pity for this lost soul. "I wish I could help you," I whispered to myself. But what could I do? I left Holloway Manor more shaken yet strangely touched. The door closed with a definitive sound behind me, like the end of a chapter. I didn't win the bet, nor did I stay the whole hour, but I walked away with a story more haunting than any ghost tale I had ever heard. Later, I would tell Jason simply, "The stories are true," and left it at that, my mind replaying the encounter, forever changing how I viewed the old, haunted Holloway Manor. I would need to return one day with a plan to help her, but how?